from cancer. But the minute you quit, your body starts healing.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get, because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. The home of Kansas City Royals baseball. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. Live from the heart of Lincoln, America. Welcome to Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back into Ticket Weeknights. I am Harrison Arens, going solo all the way up until 9 o'clock, and welcome into the Hoops IQ Check, second episode here of this show. And again, I appreciate you guys from tuning in. And if you're looking for Amon Green, he will be going tomorrow instead. So if you're waiting for the Amon Green show, be sure to tune in tomorrow for the Amon Green show, as well as Nick and Friends. And that'll kind of wrap up Ticket Weeknights, at least for Friday. And then Saturday there's shows, Sundays there's shows, and then back on Monday. As you guys can kind of tell the pattern here, the Ticket is continuing to add shows to kind of keep you plugged in locally. Again, it's great having national partners out there, but as you can imagine, most people want to hear about their local team. So again, if you guys want to join in the show, Starter Heyman text line, good way to do that, 402-464-5685. As well as I'm streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, and Allo Channel 951 for all our Allo subscribers out there. And again, I am great internet. Why wouldn't you be subscribed to Allo? So again, Channel 951 for Allo, and feel free to join in anytime. And as you can imagine, with the title of the show, we're going to be heavy basketball. And as of right now, we're still going to be diving into a lot of the NBA. We'll probably get into college. The further we dive into the summer and we start seeing some big names in the portal, we'll dive in on those guys. But as of now, haven't had a chance to talk about Game 5. Obviously, Denver Nuggets win their first NBA Finals in franchise history over a 40-year span. So good for those guys. Finally knocked that one off the list. And one thing about the Denver Nuggets, too, is they've had runs where it's not like they've just been this bad team forever. It's not like you kind of look at them the same way you'd look at the Charlotte Hornets. You know, the Denver Nuggets, they've had some eras in there, in particular, kind of when Kobe was chasing his earlier rings. You remember that Denver Nuggets team he had to see a few times in that Western Conference Finals. And you got to throw back to, they even had Melo out there at one point. So the Nuggets, it's not like they're this impoverished franchise that's just never had great players. They finally break through, though, nonetheless. And it was an interesting game, right? And one thing that these two teams showed me, and why you can't say the Miami Heat belong, is the defense. Another low-scoring game. Denver would win it 94-89. But you saw this, and why I think these two NBA teams in particular were successful. At this point, you have to throw the regular season stats away because the Miami Heat simply did not match their regular season stats. The Nuggets, they're a little closer to it, but nonetheless, in the playoffs alone, these two teams showed that we can make teams play at our pace. And in that Game 5, Miami Heat thought their best chance was to kind of take it slow and really force the Denver Nuggets to make some tough shots, good ball movement, and it worked out for them. I know they still lost the game. It was a 5-point spread, but if you just look at the overall talent of the Miami Heat compared to the Denver Nuggets, it's impressive that they're able to kind of keep them in these rock fights and really just make it a defensive-minded game. When you're playing that defensive-minded game, it's pretty great to have Spoelstra in your corner, but I do want to break it down because it was unfortunate for the Heat fan. Really unfortunate for Jimmy Butler fans. I don't know what it was. He did. I could have sworn he got hurt in that Knicks series with an ankle injury. But Jimmy Butler would come out and say it had no effect on him. So that being said, I'd be curious to what happened to Jimmy Butler. He just really wasn't there for most of that series. Ever since the Celtics series, a lot of his team was kind of carrying him on his shoulders to get him past the Celtics in a game 7. He has stretches down in that fourth quarter. But nonetheless, you really got to give it to guys like Strutz, Robinson, Vincent, Adebayo for all just kind of stepping up and really elevating Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler carried them to the Eastern Conference Finals, it felt like, and then it switched. And that last game was just really rough for Jimmy Butler. Turnovers down the stretch, a really ill-advised shot. There's about 17 seconds left on the clock. The game's on the line here. You're down by 3. So you can go for a 3 and tie it up, knowing that the Nuggets would get the ball back with you're shooting the ball at 17 seconds. They're going to get the ball back anywhere between 16, 15 seconds. You're going to have to foul. It just felt like a really ill-advised shot. Turnaround, Bruce Brown draped all over him, launches it. You can imagine, clanks off the iron pretty hard. Nuggets get the rebound, and that's game. It kind of happened just like that. And before that, Jimmy Butler had a huge turnover. He went down, tried to find a sweet spot near the rim, got bodied up by the bigs, tried to pivot out of it, kicks it out to what he thinks is an open Robinson. KCP, it's just right there in his hand. So Jimmy Butler really fell apart in that series. And it's just the Jimmy Butler legacy becomes more and more complicated to figure out because they would not be here without them. But they definitely could have used him to help win it. And they could have stretched it out another game. If Jimmy Butler doesn't go 5 for 18, just abysmal shooting, they have a chance of winning that game. Adebayo, he was 9 for 20. Gabe Vincent, tough game for him, 3 for 13. Strus played all right, 5 for 12, but unfortunately 1 for 6 from 3. And you can kind of get the pattern here, right? It just wasn't a great shooting night. Jimmy Butler wasn't there. And finally, the surrounding cast around him wasn't doing any favor. And then you go to the Denver Nuggets end. It's still kind of a defensive grind, but the difference is Jokic still can take over the game. It just feels like no matter what you throw at Nikola Jokic, he's just going to make you pay. He's going to make you pay. So Denver Nuggets win in 5. Jokic finishes the playoffs, this playoff run, as the first player ever with 600 points, 250 rebounds, and 150 assists in a single postseason. He also broke Wilt Chamberlain's record for the most triple doubles in a playoff run with 10. We're getting all these crazy numbers with Jokic. And I think the thing people are waiting to see, does this continue? He was awfully eager to get back home. And I think Jokic is a treasure for that. If you didn't catch it, after the game, he asked, when's the parade? He figures out it's Thursday. He makes an audible groan and sigh. The guy just wants to go back to Sunbar, wants to go back home with his family. He made that very clear. Just a big family guy. But it's funny having a superstar like Jokic being as good as he is, breaking all these records. He doesn't know where his finals MVP trophy is. He's ready to go back home. Doesn't even take a day to hang out with the teammates, even though I think I wouldn't worry about the chemistry. I think they all obviously play very well with Jokic and they like the guy. But it's just very funny. Parade gets over, gets on his own private jet. See you later. Doesn't spend the rest of the day partying. The man just wanted to go home. But again, as I get off that little anecdote there, it is incredible all these numbers Jokic is putting up. And what people are waiting for to see, how long does this happen? And I have the thought in my head that this might be an upcoming dynasty. Who in the West is going to take down the Denver Nuggets right now? Jamal Murray and Jokic. I talked about this on the Walk On Weekly with Sam Hoiberg and Jeff Grace III. Again, ticketfm.com podcast. If you didn't catch that one, those guys are great. They come in here every Tuesday, talk sports. But again, it was interesting for the fact that we're getting to the point where people are waiting to see Denver do it again. And I think that's when Jokic is really going to start getting his flowers. People are really going to start putting him up there as one of the best bigs of all time. Because right now it's a little early. Jokic does a lot of things well. He shoots, he passes, and he rebounds. But you got to remember about all the guys in the past. Are we really going to just forget about Wilt, Bill Russell? Are you going to forget about Moses Malone, Hakeem? There's a lot of guys out there, even Tim Duncan. I feel like Tim Duncan isn't even that, long ago, and he constantly, we're looking at new centers to replace him in the all-time standings. And it gets really tricky trying to figure out these eras. Should Bill Russell be the best of all time, best center of all time, considering he has 11 rings? Well, there wasn't as many teams back then. Everything was fed through inside. Goaltending wasn't a thing yet, so you could just go up and block shots. Just a lot of different rule changes. So when trying to figure out these guys and where they sit at all time, it honestly, to me, just has to be a gut instinct at times. Jokic learned the way he plays just totally naturally. I don't think Jokic was watching a ton of footage. You look at his jumper, it's got to be the ugliest jumper. Just so many ugly shots that look like they have no business going in. You watch it enough, though, and you realize he's just different. And where he got that influence from, where he learned to shoot and play basketball other than just playing in his backyard, I don't know. But if it's really just him, all on him working on his craft in his zone over in Sambar, Serbia, that just kind of tells you what kind of player he's going to be down the road. And I do think Jokic is getting to a point where we are going to maybe look to him. We're trying to figure out who the best player in the league is all the time. I think it's Jokic. I thought it was Jokic last year. I thought it was Jokic 2 years ago. He's, to me, the face of the league right now. Maybe not the face if you're thinking about marketing, but he's definitely the best player. Because I can put a bunch of guys around Jokic, and it's going to work a lot better than if I just take 5 random guys and put them around Giannis. Giannis is great, but you got to be able to space the floor for him. You know what he's going to do. Jokic, just the numbers in these playoffs, Jokic he got 30 points per game, 13.5 rebounds per game, 9.5 assists, round that up, 10 assists. There's a triple-double. Field goal percentage, 54% field goal percentage, and a blazing 46.1% from 3. All that right there tells you whatever you need him to do, he can probably fulfill that role. And it's up to the other guys to play around him, which is really easy when you know you're going to get the ball. If you backdoor cut and you're open, you're going to get the ball. It's not going to be a wait 1 second, give the late pass. That's one thing Jokic has really mastered. I never see that guy hesitate to throw the ball. He never has those sloppy turnovers where it looks like he's staring, thinks about it, then throws it. Because at that point, it's too late. You're racking up turnovers regardless if you're playing that kind of style. But again, just low on turnovers, only averaged about 3.5 turnovers throughout the entire playoffs. Really strong stuff for him. And again, then you go to Jamal Murray. Why you may argue they're going to have the best 2-man game in the league for a while. Jamal Murray through the playoffs, 26 points per game, 7 assists per game, and 6 rebounds per game. Shooting 47% overall, which, not bad there. You'd hope for it to be a little higher, but on the difficulty of shots and the amount of threes he takes, it makes sense. And especially when you look at his 3-point field goal percentage, a whopping 40%. So your 2 best players, they're shooting over 40% from 3. They're both getting over 20 points a game easily. Jamal Murray's not too far away from a double-double, and Jokic is averaging a triple-double. I mean, just insane numbers. So again, who could possibly take out the Denver Nuggets in the West going forward? Because they got it. They figured it out. I feel like once the team figures it out and they've been through it, they know what it takes, it becomes that much harder to knock them off. And now the Denver Nuggets, they know what it takes, and they had a gauntlet. It was my biggest gripe the entire playoffs is like, well, who have they played? I mean, they played Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, guys that were putting up each 40 points a game and would still take an L just due to the way Jokic dominates a game. It's hard for me to say they didn't go through anyone. And it was the most baffling thing for me this entire playoffs. And then again, hearing how no one's going to be interested in this finals, a hot take that, never made much sense for me. And sure enough, it actually does very well in the TV ratings, one of the best ones in the past 5 years. So people were interested in the story. I think the NBA just kind of missed the window on how they wanted to market the Nuggets. It really didn't start till the finals. They're like, okay, we should probably give these guys a few, ads here on TV. But just incredible. You know, they beat the Lakers, what I thought was a good Lakers team. LeBron and Anthony Davis, I don't care, you know, if you think they're not in their prime or not anymore. Coming in, they fixed that team. They, you know, give Spoelstra, or excuse me, not Spoelstra. You just got to give the Lakers a lot of credit. You know, Rob, the way he put that team together, you throw in Hachimura, you get D'Angelo Russell, all of a sudden you're cooking it a little bit. And it's just really impressive to kind of see that Lakers transformation in the middle of the season. And they still push the Warriors, beat them. You get to the Western Conference Finals and you get swept by the Denver Nuggets. I feel like all the tea leaves read the whole time. This is the best team in the NBA, and I don't know how close it is. And we found out in the finals. They win in 5 games. So again, just congrats to the Denver Nuggets' first win in NBA franchise history. Just really awesome. And again, I really do think that's going to be the powerhouse going forward. I don't think there's much question. Odds are already out for next year. If you're really early gambler, which I'd say maybe stay off of, wait to see what happens. But nonetheless, they're already the favorite in those next year odds. And it's going to be that way for a while. Unless one of those guys gets hurt. Gordon really showed a lot of things. Michael Porter Jr. is maybe the one guy you're a little worried about. You got to remember, that guy's got, metal in his spine. He has been injured, just injury prone throughout his entire life, not just basketball, just a lot of spine issues. So that's a guy you always get worried about. If you're the Denver Nuggets, you don't know what it's going to look like in the future, and you wonder, that's why he hasn't always been that consistent player we wanted. And he's going to be demanding big money in the future. And while we're on that, I'll kind of tease it here, and then I'll dive into it more on the next segment. So the NBA, and I think a lot of people, this might go over their head. So I'll break it down for you in simple terms. So the NBA and the Players Association go into a meeting every year. It's called the CBA. Basically, all the CBA is they are trying to figure out, just organize the league. What rules need to be made? Players obviously get to chime in what their beliefs are. So all of that kind of goes in the team. So the new CBA collective bargaining agreement, and I think why teams should be concerned. So the biggest thing with this new CBA agreement is a new tax apron. Your tax aprons are basically over your luxury tax, and then they have the apron it off. If you're this far over, you're an apron 1. If you're this far over, you're an apron 2. And those aprons, depending on how far you overspend the salary cap, they have penalties to them. In this new penalty, it's going to be harsh. So if you go over that second apron line, which is about $17.5 million over the luxury tax, the new rule would not allow them to use their taxpayer mid-level exception, can't sign buyout players during the season, and can't take more money back in trades. So why is this important? Teams like the Warriors, they're in that second apron. Teams like the Denver Nuggets, as time moves forward, they're in that second apron. Lakers, they're going to be in that second apron. All these super teams are going to hit that second apron, and that's going to limit them heavily. The Lakers can't fix their team in the middle of the season if this new CBA rule was applied this year. They can't get Rui Hachimura. They can't get D'Angelo Russell. They're stuck with their roster. So in some ways, you might think it's good, right? You ought to figure out your team and the salary to not get yourself in that penalty. It's gonna, if you're one of those people that doesn't like the super teams, maybe you're thinking, this isn't so bad. I can see why this would work. I'm going to tell you why it's not going to work, and especially with the middle-class players, but we're going to save that for the next segment. So again, this is Hoops IQ Check with Harrison Arens on 93.7 The Ticket, ticketfm.com. Again, if you want to chime in on the show, Starter Heyman text line 402-464-5685, as well as I'm streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, and Allo Channel 951. We'll throw it to break here, and I'll catch you guys on the other side.
General contractors, business owners, property owners. The success of your business requires doing business with the right people. And the right people when it comes to drywall, acoustical ceilings, and specialty products are at Premier Drywall. Kevin and his crew will give your project the response and attention it deserves.
You'll get all of the attention to detail and quality that you would expect from someone who's been in the business for 30 years. For your new builds, build-outs, or renovations, reach out to Kevin. Kevin at PremierDW.com. Premier Drywall in Lincoln.
Sandhills Global is hiring. Check out sandhills.jobs for more information. Sandhills is looking to fill hundreds of new openings in sales, traveling support, software development, web design, and more. Sandhills has a professional culture and is fast-paced with a focus on growth, innovation, and leading-edge technologies. Career and internship opportunities are available at our global headquarters in Lincoln, Nebraska. Apply today at sandhills.jobs.
Happy Hour.
We're speaking to Nate Rohr, the voice of Husker South Bowling. Are they going to need more seats at bowling?
Absolutely. This is the sort of player that grabs your attention like that.
Nate, do you think it's at all possible to add a second level to the press box?
They have kind of that attic thing where they put cameras. I've wanted them to turn that into a second deck, but yeah, the press box is going to be really crowded. I might have to be scalping seats in the in the back of my booth next year.
Weekdays from 1 to 2 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Against Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Against Sports at 48th and Vine.
Our Remington Homes has really expanded and taken off in the last 5 years.
Bob Benish of Aspen Builders, talking about their exciting new division, Remington Homes, which makes the home building process easier and more affordable.
The exciting thing about a Remington home is you get to choose your floor plan from predetermined floor plans. You can select your options. We give you a lot of choices. By selecting certain floor plans, they're just easier to build. And you couple that with our great lot selection in all different areas. People do not want to be married to their house payment. They want to get a nice house with nice finishes in a great area for an affordable price. And that's what Remington Homes are all about.
Home building is easier with a Remington home from Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at remingtonlincoln.com. remingtonlincoln.com.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
Are you working in or looking to get into the electrical construction industry? The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Hey, moms and dads, bring the whole crew to a Salt Dogs baseball game and unleash the fun. Visit Haymarket Park all summer for fireworks Fridays, souvenir Saturdays, Sunday family fun days, and more. With 50 home games, even weekdays can be unforgettable. Planning an event? Make it a home run with group discounts. When you need an outing the whole family will enjoy, unleash the fun with the Salt Dogs. Call 402-474-2255 or visit saltdogs.com for tickets.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Coppell Chevrolet GMC, and our big summer sales event is underway this month. Right now, get 0.9% interest rates. Yes, you heard right. 0.9% APR on select new Chevrolet and GMC vehicles, plus a $1,500 trade-in bonus on select Silverados and Sierras. You put all that together with some big Coppell discounts, and you have a tremendous buying experience. So stop on into the dealership or check us out online at CoppellCars.com. You'll be glad you did. All deals with approved credit.
How many times has the dad in your life complained about being tired and sore and done nothing about it? Why not change things up this year for Father's Day with a gift certificate for a massage from the Body Shop? It's not a day at the golf course or a new tool for the shop, but it is something that can make activities less painful going forward. Get Dad a gift certificate today for Father's Day at thebodyshoplincoln.com. The Body Shop at 48th and A.
You don't think about your roof very often, but you should never take it for granted. Roofing Service Company takes every measure to provide you with the highest quality roofing solution. Whether it's a new roof installation, roof repair, or a re-roofing project, their overall goal is to provide you with a pleasant experience and a long-lasting roof. If you have a need for siding or gutters, they're your place too. Visit roofingservicecompany.com for more info today.
To the Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back into Ticket Weeknights. I am Harrison Arens, going all the way up until 9 o'clock. This is the Hoops IQ Check Show. And again, I'm Harrison Arens going solo all the way up until 9 o'clock. And again, if you guys want to join the show, good way to do that. Starter Heyman text line 402-464-5685, as well as I'm streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, and Allo channel 951 for all our Allo subscribers out there. And again, great internet. Why wouldn't you? So, as I was saying before, we kind of left off with these new CBA agreement and what it all entails. So, real quick rundown. New CBA agreement, it essentially sets up another apron, tax apron, which is going to have its penalties. Those aprons are over the salary cap. So, again, this new apron they're creating, you're going to have to be $17.5 million over the luxury tax. So that's your next apron, your second apron that you're hitting. So again, real quick, the new rule, if you're in that new apron, you're not allowed to use their taxpayer mid-level exception, can't sign buyout players during the season, and can't take more money back in trades. It basically ties your hands down in the middle of the season with very few options. It says, here is your roster. If you're going to be this much over the salary cap, then this is what you got. You know, we're not going to allow any middle of the season cop-outs to try to fix this. You know, you knew you were paying way over at the beginning of the year. You wanted to pay way over. You're risking it that this team's going to work. And if it doesn't work, you're really kind of stuck, you know, with the limited trade options in the middle of the season. So this is why I think this is going to hurt the NBA. I think the middle-class players are going to get a lot less money. They're going to spend all the money. Their superstars are now going to be able to demand most of the money. And to stay under this salary cap or this salary cap, you know, to get away from that apron as far as possible, teams aren't going to be able to have these rosters that they have right now. We talked about it before. Lakers would have to make a move. Denver Nuggets sooner than later would have to make a move. Bucks would have to start trading away some players. Warriors, another team, they're going to have to start dumping some players. So all these older rosters, the Phoenix Suns definitely, but looks like they're kind of shaking hands with Chris Paul already. And we'll talk about that as well. Trying to figure out where he goes. I thought he was waived already. Made a miscalculation there. Bleacher Report likes to put waived. He's not waived yet. All right. It's they have until June 28th to decide. If he's not waived by 28th, then they have to pay him the full $30 million guarantee. Again, we'll dive into that later. Let's continue on what this means. So as I'm saying, with this new apron, those middle-class players, you know, not your superstars, not your minimum contract players, the guys right in the middle, your Josh Harts, you know, Lonzo Ball, well, I guess he's probably done for the rest of his career. But your Aaron Gordons, Michael Porter Jr.'s, guys like that aren't quite there yet. Your Rui Hachimura, they're going to get less money, or they're going to have to accept less money, or they're going to have to go on a team that doesn't have a superstar, and they're going to be getting paid a lot, but maybe not really competing. So it makes it interesting. I don't know if this is going to make a better product. I think the Players Association, this is kind of what happens when you play with fire. The way this league's been going for a little bit now, I think it might be a little pushback on the Players Association from the league, really trying to handicap those guys. And a big result of this is the NBA was tired of these middle of the season big trade swings. They don't like it when you have guys like James Harden just bouncing back and forth, back and forth, Kyrie Irving everywhere. All these superstars are just revolving around the NBA. And this is the repercussions. This is what happens. It's a CBA. They have to come to an agreement. And with the way the players have been in the NBA, the way the movement's been with these superstars, there's going to be repercussions. This is the repercussion. This heavily limits teams from moving those guys around. If you want to sign that superstar, you better be damn well sure you're going to sign that superstar, because you're not going to have a lot of flexibility, especially if you're getting close to that salary cap, that 17.5 over the luxury tax. That's when it's going to hit you. So all these teams, as I'm saying, Warriors, Lakers, Nuggets, Suns, the list goes on. Timberwolves, they have a problem on their hands now too. This is going into effect next season. This is another thing about the CBA agreement that really flew under the radar, is this came up pretty surprisingly. Normally they kind of give you some years like, hey, heads up, in the year 2027, this will start, so get ready. They announced it and said, hey, next year. The Warriors are in there already. They're screwed. They're going to have to trade away players and maybe not get anything back in return, or at least not a lot, just to save themselves. Or they say, screw it, we got to win now. Let's extend Steph Curry's runway, and we'll just play with the guys we got. Even if it's, we're getting penalized, we'll trust with what we have. And even though the middle of the season we won't have that flexibility, we're going to spend over, because there's not a lot of point in trying to fix it now. It's going to be interesting. I'm just saying, next year's a big year. Look for a bunch of huge trades. Even this offseason, teams are getting ready for it. Look for a ton of huge splashes, some unexpected movement, and really try to figure out what this new apron's going to do to these NBA owners. I honestly don't think it's good. God forbid a billionaire is incentivized to spend more money on his team than he needs to. I've never really had too many problems with it. If the Warriors want to compete and they want to forward the tax and they're just going to take it by the chin, so be it. That's a team that's adding a lot of revenue to the league. I think you get a benefit for that. But again, this is what happens. The NBA and the Players Association, they clash heads kind of based on what's been going on. And I do think it's been a bad product watching James Harden, Ben Simmons, Kyrie Irving fly around the league and never make a great impact on the rosters that they're on. When was the last time you saw Kyrie Irving had a massive impact on his roster? Cleveland? In a positive way. I should say in a positive way. Kyrie Irving's definitely had an impact on his teams, in his locker rooms. But the last time he positively changed the future of an NBA franchise was truly the Cavaliers. The Celtics, maybe. He said he was coming back. He decided not to. He went to Brooklyn, started holding his own separate practices. James Harden, same thing. How many times do we see this guy fly around the NBA and never make a substantial impact to make what you're paying him worth it? All those playoff runs with Houston, with Philadelphia, with Brooklyn, it's a waste of money. And that's why this new apron's kind of coming into play. It's going to, incentivize teams to kind of quit with the tomfoolery with these superstars, get serious, lock them in, and it's going to really limit players from forcing their ways out of decisions. You can get fat and out of shape and not want to play, but if the hands teams are tied and they can't trade you and no one can take you, that's it. You're on that roster. So go ahead and tank your own salary if that's what it is. But those are the repercussions of what happens in this modern NBA. If you're bouncing around everywhere, there's repercussions. And I don't think this new CBA agreement is one the players are going to like, especially the middle-class players. They're not going to get paid nearly as much. Superstars are going to get paid the same amount. Just going to really spread the league out, I think. That could be a positive you take out of this. A lot more. We're going to see kind of the two-man superstar. Very rarely you're going to see a big three anymore. Not with the way the salary cap is. Not with that new apron tied in there. So it's going to be different. The league's just going to be different. That's where we are. It's going to be two-man superstar again, I think. Unless you have a few teams like the Warriors that just say, you know what, we're here. I don't see a good way out of this. We're just going to bite the bullet and ride this dynasty out, or what may possibly still be a dynasty out for as long as we can. A lot of interesting stuff there. A few other bits of news that I want to get to. Ja Morant announcement should be coming soon. This one's interesting because Adam Silver essentially was waiting for after the finals. The finals were over. Didn't want to do it on the day of the parade, understandably. But tomorrow, I feel like we're going to get that Ja Morant news tomorrow on how long is he going to be suspended for. A lot of people are saying all the way up until the All-Star game. Some people are saying less than 50 games. Some people are saying way more. Some people are saying a full season. We have to put this into context. The NBA does not hand out punishments randomly. As much as it seems so in professional sports, believe it or not, they got a book on how they've done things on the past, and that's how they're going to present things going forward. Ja Morant's a little more interesting because it was 2 times in a row. I don't think they're buying the smoke on it being a toy airsoft gun or whatever. I think they think it's probably a real gun. But 2 times in a row, I think only a couple months apart, which, you know, hopefully you see more maturity from Ja Morant. Even if you think it's right or wrong, just don't do that. Don't put yourself at jeopardy. You know, that's not a hill, you know, that's not a prideful hill you want to die on. It's a dumb one. Like, who cares? Just you don't need it. Why die on that hill? If it's a pride thing, you got to cut it out, man. I've never understood that. But again, his might be a little different due to the back-to-back nature of his suspensions coming up. But I want to put this in some context. So how long do we think Ja will be suspended for? We have to keep in mind how the NBA handles these cases. Miles Bridges, remember him and his whole fiasco. He was only given a 30-game NBA suspension without pay for a violence incident involving the mother of his children. He only got 30 days for that. So that's why I'm pulling back a little bit on, hey, he's going to be gone all season. If Miles Bridges only got 30 games of suspension, non-pay, with a domestic assault case based on, you know, family, I don't think we're going to see Ja Morant suspended for an entire season. I might be right at 30. You know, obviously it's not as severe as what Miles Bridges did, but the close succession, I don't think we're seeing anything over 30 games. Just look at all the suspensions previously. They're not going to slap Ja Morant, you know, harder with the book just because they want him to be the face of the league. They're going to be fair about it. Maybe fair isn't the right word, depending on where you stand on these suspensions, but they're going to be consistent. Consistent would be the key word. They're not going to just extend it because he's Ja Morant and they want to make an example out of him. They're going to stay within the guidelines. And again, Miles Bridges, domestic assault case with family, only 30 games. Where does that put Ja Morant? That probably puts him 30 below 30. If you're arguing for the close succession and maybe, you know, they penalize that harder, I still think it's a stretch to call 50 games. There's just no way it's going to be that high. It's dumb. A lot of people have pretty harsh opinions on it, me included, but you're not going to suspend him that long for that. It's just not. So if you're against the Memphis Grizzlies, if they're in your conference, don't bet on an entire season without Ja Morant playing. They'll be back next year. They're going to have enough talent to survive. And again, I keep hearing this argument, well, is it really much of a punishment to Ja Morant? You know, if he just comes back halfway through the season, you think he's going to learn his lesson? the NBA is bound to consistency. It doesn't matter. They can't just go off the books to prove a point. So all this talk about John Morant, what he's going to get, is he going to get more? I don't think it's going to be like that. I think the NBA has consistently been bound to their books on how they've handled things in the past. It's very much like the judicial court system. How do we do it before? That's how we're going to do it going forward. Unless massive things change, that's how it's going to be going. And with this, there's nothing that indicates to me that they're going to completely lock him up for more than half of the season. That's just where I'm at on the whole John Morant fiasco. But we'll throw it to break here. We'll put a pin in it. And again, if you guys want to join the show, Starter Heyman text line 402-464-5685. Talking hoops here all the way up until 9 o'clock. And if you want to watch me or put a face to the voice, good way to do that. Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Allo, channel 951. We'll go ahead and step aside, though, put it to break, and I'll catch you guys on the other side.
How many times has the dad in your life complained about being tired and sore and done nothing about it? Why not change things up this year for Father's Day with a gift certificate for a massage from the Body Shop? It's not a day at the golf course or a new tool for the shop, but it is something that can make activities less painful going forward. Get Dad a gift certificate today for Father's Day at thebodyshoplincoln.com. The Body Shop at 48th and A.
Whether you're looking for a new place to call home or trying to sell your current home, you want to make it as easy as possible. So why not use a realtor that works harder so you don't have to? The Carpe Diem team at Nebraska Realty is your go-to realty team for all your residential and commercial needs. They pride themselves on working hard and making your life as easy as possible while educating you every step of the way. Contact the Carpe Diem team to seize your moment, whether it be buying, selling, building, investing, or even commercial real estate. Give them a call today at 402-429-8121.
Put lawn irrigation on automatic. Think Judson Irrigation for worry-free service to Lincoln homeowners and business community. Judson Irrigation will turn on your sprinkler system in the spring, repair or redesign as needed, and turn it off in the fall. For service to orphan sprinklers, remember Judson Irrigation. They'll never forget you.
Call the Judson Irrigation Orphanage 402-420-6277 or judsonirrigation.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning. Now in our new time, we're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red!
Hi, it's Charlie Stone again, and with me on the line, Andy Goodyear, General Manager of Honda of Lincoln. Andy, I know how proud you and everyone at the dealership are to earn the prestigious Honda President's Award year after year, 17 times. Tell our listeners what it means to you and your customers.
Thanks, Charlie. Yeah, all of us are extremely proud to have earned this award, and I want all of our customers to know it's not just earned by one person's effort. It's the entire dealership, sales, parts, and our amazing service department.
17 times. Wow. How does that compare to other Honda dealers?
This award is only given to the most elite dealerships that demonstrate excellence. We really do strive to go above and beyond for the ultimate customer experience before and after the sale, Charlie.
That's why for 2022, Honda of Lincoln is once again Nebraska's #1 volume Honda dealer. Come experience the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business, 27th and Yankee Hill Road, or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and our big summer sales event is underway this month. Right now, get 0.9% interest rates. Yes, you heard right. 0.9% APR on select new Chevrolet and GMC vehicles, plus a $1,500 trade-in bonus on select Silverados and Sierras. You put all that together with some big couple discounts, and you have a tremendous buying experience. So stop on into the dealership or check us out online at couplecars.com. You'll be glad you did. All deals with approved credit.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
Allo is turning 20 this year, and we plan to celebrate all year long. Since 2003, Allo has vowed to put customers first and deliver a drastically different experience. No matter where you live, work, or play, we believe you deserve an affordable, secure, and reliable connection. We're proud to have served our businesses and residents with seriously fast fiber optic service for 2 decades. Thank you for trusting Allo as your local internet, phone, and TV provider. Follow us on social media to know about the 20th anniversary celebrations in all our Allo communities.
Hey, CNC machinists, do you feel like you're in a dead-end job with your boss hovering over your shoulder? That's so annoying. Not at Garner Industries. We provide the opportunity and trust our CNC machinists to bring the talent. I'm Bob Williams, HR Director at Garner Industries, and we're looking for new team members in our CNC department. At Garner Industries, you'll work in a clean, climate-controlled, and safe environment with team members who want to see you succeed. You will also enjoy 4-day work weeks, great benefits, and a positive working culture. Interested? Apply on our career page at GarnerIndustries.com.
You don't think about your roof very often, but you should never take it for granted. Roofing Service Company takes every measure to provide you with the highest quality roofing solution. Whether it's a new roof installation, roof repair, or a re-roofing project, their overall goal is to provide you with a pleasant experience and a long-lasting roof. If you have a need for siding or gutters, they're your place too. Visit roofingservicecompany.com for more info today.
Back to the Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back into Hoops IQ Check. I am Harrison Arens, going solo all the way up until 9 o'clock right here on Ticket Weeknights. And again, if you guys want to join the show, feel free to do so through the Starter Heyman text line, 402-464-5685, as well as the Honda of Lincoln hotline, same number. And if you want to put a face to the voice or go back and watch any of our live streams and go to YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, or Twitter, search in theticketfm.com. Great way to put a face to the voice there and engage in the show as you please. But we got a little bit of time here, and what I want to get to before we go ahead and head out, switch it up to national before setting you guys up for tomorrow. A few trades that we haven't got to. We got Zion Williamson rumors. We got Cat rumors. We got Zach LaVine rumors. DeAndre Ayton rumors. The list goes on and on. You get it. A lot of movement. And as I was kind of talking with this new CBA agreement, I do wonder if a lot of this is a result of that. Same thing for Damian Lillard. Is this finally the year he makes it out of Portland? You got Jokic over there. Just really has not been. He just really hasn't been working. Too injury prone. They're already small, so without him on the court, I mean, it's just a roster that doesn't make a ton of sense. You're playing with guys like Damian Lillard, Anthony Simons. Like, it's just a small, bad defensive roster. I love Damian Lillard, but man, that guy does not put defense as an emphasis on his game. And if you're that good of a scorer, who am I to tell you to do so? But the fact that you don't have anyone else around Damian Lillard that can defend at a high level, that's why you're not winning games. It doesn't take a genius to look at the playoffs of the past, the best teams in those playoffs. Defense. You're not going to get anywhere without good defense. And they just haven't had it. They really have never had it throughout his entire career. The best it ever was maybe when, I can't think of a good time they were a strong defensive unit. It's really been that bad for a while. So I do think if Damian Lillard, you trusted the process enough, I don't think he should be. That's one of the players that definitely should not be shamed for moving. I mean, man, that guy's tried over there. He's been a phenomenal player. He's been on a small market team despite his play style being so exciting. I can't imagine if he ended up on the Lakers, what his media publicity would be. But yeah, he's really gave his heart and soul to the Portland Trailblazers. But I am curious, does that kind of finally end this offseason? I mean, he's another guy who I just really enjoy watching him play. His defense is frustrating, but what he can do with the ball, to the day I die, my favorite buzzer beater of all time. And those who remember, remember the Damian Lillard over Paul George when he was on the Thunder from like half court in the first round of the Western Conference Finals. Just that's about as Damian Lillard as you can go. Just the gonads to go ahead and pull that shot off. But he drained it. They'd advance, make it all the way to the Western Conference Finals. Kind of a magical year for the Trailblazers, but that is the best they've ever done with Dame, is the Western Conference Finals, only to get, I think it was 4-1, or might have even been a sweep to the Warriors. Yeah, I think it was a sweep. I think it was a pretty ugly Western Conference Finals, a lot like this year with the Nuggets and Lakers. Zion Williamson, another guy. This one, I put your skeptical flags up for this one. The New Orleans Pelicans are not trading Zion Williamson. This is something that I feel like happens a lot. Yeah, they are making phone calls. That's true. The Pelicans, I'm sure they're making phone calls, but just to see where he's at, just to see the value. I think they'd be a fool to trade a guy that young. Let's be real. Whatever, you disagree or agree with off the court, when he's on the court and healthy, he's unstoppable. He's breaking records for the efficiency he has. He's breaking Shaq's records in terms of points at the rim, offensive boards, second hand, putbacks. He's breaking records when he's healthy. He's incredibly efficient. You just got to work that bridge out. What's going wrong with the Zion Williamson career? Did the Pelicans baby him too much? They really just kind of tied him up as soon as he came from Duke. They're like, don't worry, Zion, don't rush it. Don't play. And it seems like every time he plays, he's great. Maybe he's a little out of shape. There's a few things that concern you of him, but I think a lot of that is just not really, you're just kind of leaving everything up to Zion, is what it's felt like with the Pelicans organization. It felt like Griffin is so damn scared to upset Zion Williamson, they just won't tell him anything. It's pretty true, and it seems pretty aware that he isn't super close to teammates. Now, that by all means isn't a trait you need to have to be a great player. It's just simply not, but it definitely makes things easier, when you have that relationship with your teammates. But it seems he does all his workouts by himself through the summer. He doesn't really spend much time with his training staff, coaches, players during the offseason. He kind of just goes off and does it on his own. And that's the thing that may worry you. He's always wanted to do it on his own. He's never really gave the Pelicans organization full trust on what they can do for him. And the result is, whatever his system is, it sucks, period. And you keep letting him every summer, every offseason, he just keeps doing it. He barely plays. And you're going to keep trusting him. You're not going to tell him, hey, this is important. We really need you around. You're just, once again, kind of leaving it up in the air. And when you've left it up in the air, you barely see Zion on the court. And when he is ready to play, you baby him almost. It to me, it just feels that way. I've never been so excited to watch a guy like Zion be immediately, gratified on what I thought he'd be. He was everything I wanted it to be. Defensively is the one thing you can maybe complain about with him, is he's never been that defensive player we saw from Duke in the NBA, but offensively, everything. And then he just kind of vanishes off into the wind again. So between Zion, Ja Morant, I don't know who the new face of the league is. Thought it was going to be one of those two. It might be a while before we ever figure that out. With that being said, though, it is time to kind of wrap things up here on the Hoops IQ Check podcast show, as it is now live. But again, go to ticketfm.com. Catch all the podcasts from the day shows, ticket weeknight shows, the weekend shows. We got tons of content for you guys to go ahead and enjoy. And appreciate you guys listening. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday night. And I'm Harrison Arens signing off.